Nuremberg, WWII's ideological heart. Once a medieval hub for the Holy Roman Empire, Nuremberg was made by Hitler the symbolic center of the Nazi regime. Nazi ideas split the world into races, deeming some superior. From massive rallies to the Nuremberg Laws and later trials for war criminals, Nuremberg's name is tied to the rise and fall of the Third Reich. Why did Hitler choose this city? We must look at its deep history, its cultural importance, and how it hosted propaganda and justice. Anti-Semitism wasn't unique to Germany, but it was present in Nuremberg for ages. In the late Middle Ages, Nuremberg's Jewish people faced harsh persecution. In 1298, violence erupted across the region, with Jews accused of harming sacred communion bread, leading to brutal massacres. During the 14th century's Black Death, Jews were blamed and killed throughout Europe, including in Nuremberg. The Black Death context, that sense of plague and anti-Semitism became intertwined. By 1499, Jews were officially banned from Nuremberg and other cities, not allowed back for centuries. This long-term exclusion fostered an environment where anti-Semitic ideas could grow unchecked. Though Jews returned in the 19th century, many Germans saw them as outsiders. Hitler used this prejudice in shaping Nazi beliefs. In Mein Kampf, Hitler called Jews parasites harming German purity. By the early 1930s, anti-Semitism was already in German society, and Nuremberg was ripe for his racial ideology. Located in Bavaria, Nuremberg's history goes back centuries before Nazis. In the Middle Ages, it was a key city in the Holy Roman Empire. It was a free imperial city, a center for trade, crafts, and culture. Crucially, it held imperial diets and the regalia, symbols of power. This past made Nuremberg ideal for any regime wanting to connect to German history.
Hitler understood symbolism deeply.
He believed Germany needed not just political change, but a spiritual rebirth rooted in pride. Choosing Nuremberg linked the Nazis to past German greatness, giving them legitimacy. The city's architecture and location made it perfect for rallies, designed to impress Germans and spread Nazi ideas. Starting in the 1920s, the Nazi Party held yearly rallies there, but they grew huge after Hitler gained dictatorial power in 1933. From 1933 to 1938, the city hosted massive rallies. Part convention, part spectacle, part ritual. Albert Speer, Hitler's architect, was tasked with making Nuremberg worthy of the Third Reich. At its core, Nazi ideology was racist and biological, believing this explained all human progress. He designed huge arenas like the Zeppelin Field and Great Road, a massive avenue for military parades. These grand structures symbolized the supposed eternity of Nazi rule. The rallies themselves were astounding. Up to 700,000 people gathered for days of parades, speeches, military drills, and films. Hitler used these events to show German unity and announce new policies. Filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl captured the 1934 rally in Triumph of the Will, a visually stunning, chilling propaganda film glorifying Hitler and Nazi ideals. Nuremberg became the stage for Hitler's personality cult and totalitarian power. Here, Hitler was presented as the Messiah leading Germany's rebirth. In 1935, during the rallies, Hitler introduced laws that targeted Jews systematically. Announced at Nuremberg and named after it, these laws codified Nazi racial ideology. The first law protected German blood and honor, banning marriages and relations between Jews and Aryans. The second law stripped Jews of German citizenship, making them mere subjects. The Nuremberg Laws did more than ostracize Jews. They aimed to erase them from Germany's political and legal life. These laws also paved the way for further persecution. In the following years, Jews were removed from jobs, universities, and professions. Jewish businesses were boycotted or seized. Jewish children were segregated in schools, then excluded entirely. These racial policies also targeted Roma people, Black Germans, and others deemed impure. Nuremberg, once a symbol of German culture, became where legal anti-Semitism was formalized. This wasn't accidental. Hitler deliberately chose Nuremberg to legitimize these decrees. Announcing them in his ideological capital ensured they'd be imprinted on the national mind. After the Nuremberg Laws, anti-Semitic policy grew more extreme and violent. In 1938, Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, was a nationwide pogrom against Jews. Synagogues burned, businesses destroyed, and thousands of Jews were arrested for concentration camps. During World War II, this escalated into genocide. Hitler and Nazi leaders implemented the final solution. This meant the systematic extermination of Europe's Jewish population. Over 6 million Jews were murdered in ghettos, shootings, gas vans, and camps like Auschwitz-Birkenau and Treblinka. Though the Nuremberg rallies stopped after 1938 due to war, the city's connection to Nazi ideology remained. It was where Jews were legally cast out, a major step towards the Holocaust's realization. Justice after Hitler? After Hitler's death in April 1945 and Germany's surrender, the Allies faced a huge decision: how to prosecute the Third Reich's leaders. They chose Nuremberg for the International Military Tribunal, for its symbolic weight and for practical reasons. The Palace of Justice had survived the war mostly intact, with a prison nearby to hold the accused. The Nuremberg trials, starting in November 1945, were historic. For the first time, world leaders were tried for crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. 24 high-ranking Nazi officials were indicted, including Hermann Göring and Rudolf Hess. Here are a few options for your TikTok/YouTube subtitle: keeping the original meaning, using natural language, being engaging and slightly shorter. Option 1. Focus on the challenge. Germany surrendered in April 1945 after Hitler died. The Allies then faced a huge choice: what to do with the Nazi leaders. Option 2, more direct. With Hitler gone and Germany defeated in April 1945, the Allies had a massive decision. How would they deal with the Third Reich's top figures? Option 3, slightly more dramatic. April 1945. Hitler's dead, Germany's surrendered. Now, the Allies faced a critical question: how to bring the Third Reich's masterminds to justice. Why Nuremberg, you ask? It was chosen for the International Military Tribunal partly for its powerful symbolism. It's not just about your weight, but for super practical stuff too. Here are a few options for your TikTok/YouTube subtitle: keeping the original meaning and tone while being engaging and natural for US English speakers. Option 1, slightly more descriptive. The Palace of Justice amazingly weathered the war, mostly unharmed. It even had a prison right next door. Option 2, more direct and punchy. Believe it or not, the Palace of Justice came out of the war pretty much unscathed. Plus, there was a prison attached. Option 3, focus on the contrast. So, the Palace of Justice actually survived the war with minimal damage. And get this, a prison was right beside it. Here are a few options: keeping the original meaning and aiming for natural, engaging US English for TikTok/YouTube, with a slight reduction in word count. Option 1, focus on location, where the accused are kept. Option 2, slightly more formal. This is where suspects are held. Option 3, more direct. Housing for the accused. Option 4, emphasizing purpose. The place for those accused. Here are a few options for your TikTok/YouTube subtitle, keeping the original meaning and tone while making it more engaging and slightly shorter. Option 1. Focus on impact. In November 1945, a monumental moment in history kicked off, the Nuremberg trials. Option 2. More direct history was made when the Nuremberg trials started in November 1945. Option 3. Slightly more dramatic, November 1945. That's when the truly historic Nuremberg trials began. Option 4. Emphasizing significance, the Nuremberg trials, launching in November 1945, were absolutely historic. History's never seen this before. World leaders are finally facing justice for breaking the peace, committing war crimes, and going against humanity. 24 top Nazi leaders were charged, like Hermann Göring and Rudolf Hess. The accusations at the tribunal showed the sheer scale of Nazi atrocities, encompassing the Holocaust, wars of aggression, and the forced labor of millions. These trials were a groundbreaking moment for international law, proving that even leaders could face consequences for terrible crimes. The very idea of genocide was officially named and introduced to the world stage during the Nuremberg proceedings. This marked the very first occasion that the term was officially used within an international legal framework. The structure and methods of these trials became a foundational model for subsequent international courts. This includes the courts established to address atrocities in places like Rwanda and the former Yugoslavia. Selecting Nuremberg as the trial location was a very intentional and symbolic choice. The very city that once idolized Hitler and saw the creation of discriminatory laws was now repurposed as a place for justice. It was a powerful act of poetic justice that the site where Nazi ideology peaked was used to dismantle it and hold its architects responsible. Today, Nuremberg embodies a complex history, standing as a city of both stark contrasts and deep historical reflection. They've maintained sections of the former Nazi rally grounds, transforming them into educational centers. This repurposes the sites of past propaganda into vital places for learning and remembrance. The Documentation Center, located on the historic Nazi Party rally grounds, offers visitors a comprehensive exploration of how the Nazi regime began and its devastating effects. Moreover, the city has actively embraced its modern role in championing human rights globally. Nuremberg now serves as the host for international conferences and awards dedicated to human rights. The aim is to reshape its identity, moving away from being a symbol of oppression towards one of accountability and rebirth. Across the city, various institutions like schools, museums, and public memorials actively work to keep the memory of the Holocaust and Nazi crimes from fading. This ensures that these critical historical events are never forgotten by the global community. Within this complex legacy, marked by profound darkness and eventual redemption, Nuremberg continues to serve as a vital lesson on the perilous outcomes of unchecked hatred. It also highlights the manipulative power of propaganda and underscores the absolute necessity of justice. The city stands as both a potent warning against future atrocities and a beacon of enduring hope. It is a location where humanity's darkest moments were laid bare for the world to see, and it was here that the international community first made a unified stand, declaring unequivocally, "Never again."